Sargeras wasn't attacking the world soul. He was repairing it. Repairing it? Now I know we've had that theory that he was freeing the world soul, or trying to burst open the prison, all that stuff, but repairing it? This is a new take. Let's see what Pyromancer has to say about why Sargeras was repairing the world soul. Okay.
What if even through that same weapon, Sargeras was still being controlled? I mean, think about this. If that energy within the sword is anima of Argus or Sargeras, or even the pure, source of Argus's soul, if the Titans have control over that and are channeling that through their seat, could they make Sargeras do something?
Dominate Sargeras?
Could they force his hand? I guess I'm proposing the idea that did they make him stab the planet? Why couldn't Sargeras just have a change of heart? He could as well. I'm not saying that they had to have forced him. I'm just throwing the idea out there. I think that he was putting the other half of the primordial deities together. That's what I think he was trying to do.
Combining?
Think about this as well. Sargeras is on fire, and he's connected with Argus, who is apparently undergoing torment and suffering.
Right.
Let me ask you guys something. In Revendreth, how do you produce anima?
Torture. Yeah, you
what
torture.
Do they do? Torture.
Yeah.
Can you imagine many things more agonizing than being eternally on fire? Think about it. Who are some of the characters who went...
That's the literal lore of religious hell, right? That's the literal lore. Eternally on fire, an eternal burning. Never-ending burning, constant healing and burning. Yeah, that's how religious texts of the monotheistic religions relate to hell. So I can imagine that it's probably painful, and if that's what was happening to Argus the entire time. Yeah, I mean, when we fought him, we put him out of his misery then, at that point. I always thought it was interesting that Argus couldn't speak, too. Like, clearly Azeroth speaks. Like, she's speaking out now. We hear her in the War Within cinematic. But for some reason, Argus, like when we brought him out, he doesn't have much to say. He's like just screaming in agony the entire fight, basically. And we kill him. And I still think there's going to be some repercussions for that. We haven't found out what they are yet, and I think we made the wrong decision in killing him. But the Titans certainly set that up. That's for sure.
To Revendreth. Argus turns Revendreth torture red during the mythic fight. You know what abilities he starts using when he turns red and black? Sargeras. Sargeras is fear. Sargeras is rage. Sentence of Sargeras.
Damn. Really? Oh, shit.
One of my newest theories is that the energy inside Sargeras' sword is potentially he and or Argus's anima, born from suffering and penance.
Oh.
Through torture and agony, he filled this blade with energy. And maybe even with said energy was trying to regenerate Argus, maybe rebuild him in such a fashion that he could use him and use the anima to basically jumpstart Azeroth. Because what does anima do? Think about this.
Look, the whole like pulsing red magic and everything he's saying, maybe that's...
There is one thing that's worse than being set on fire for all of eternity, and that would be watching a Sam reaction video for all of eternity. Jesus. Waiting to raid. Keek Moishi 1 Sam 0.
Noted. The thing about the sword is the way we end up kind of dissipating the power of the sword, and he's talking about that power maybe being some torture magic, I don't know, or a piece of Argus, is we use these weapons, right? Our legendary weapons, our artifact weapons that we gathered all of this power, all this anima power into, and we use it basically to dissipate the power in the sword. And to me, that kind of goes with the theory that maybe the sword was powered by something from Argus, because You have the death side and the life side, right? And when they come together, it's like it brings peace, right? It brings harmony, perfect balance. And I think what we did was we brought our legendaries to the sword and basically took a piece of Azeroth, all that anima power, and brought balance to the sword, right? We calmed it down. We stopped all the crazy erratic magic that was pulsating from it. So that theory could definitely hold water.
Anima is a power source born from the energy siphoned off of a soul, channel. Right? If Sargeras is suffering... the anima's red and black for a reason. It's said that Sargeras succumbed to his fear.
It is the same color.
Sargeras, if you were to assign a class to him...
Yeah, equal and opposite, I think so.
Warriors have a special ability called Berserker Rage. And it turns your eyes red. Do you know what Berserker Rage does?
Interesting, yeah.
It breaks fear, saps, and sleeps. Removes fear and control effects. When Sargeras is feeling Berserker Rage, he is not fearful. And maybe he was. Maybe he was up until the point of becoming corrupted. I mean, if he was dominated...
Maybe.
I mean... Did you guys see Anduin's face when he broke free from domination? He was horrified.
Yeah.
When he stuck that sword into the chest of the Archon.
Yeah, one thing about domination and what we learned through Anduin is you kind of know what's going on. Like, you're being dominated, you can't really control it, but you are somewhat aware of the things you're doing. So when you're undominated, it is crushing to your soul. Like, damn, I just did all that shit. Oh my god. Like, he was aware of everything that had happened, and he talks about it.
Fine.
So if Sargeras was, he'd be aware too.
Sargeras is enraged. He becomes free when he undergoes this effect. What I'm saying is that Sargeras being on fire is not a comfortable situation for him, I don't think. I think he is, I
mean, he's not a demon, so yeah.
in agony.
Maybe.
Most of the time. And if he's not, it's probably because he's siphoning that through Argus and then taking the resultant anima and imbuing it into his sword. Perhaps he believed that by imbuing his sword with the raw power of death that he could kill Azeroth. But I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, I don't think
so either. Sargeras is aware of what Azeroth and Argus are.
I think so too.
And I think that he sought to put them together.
Yeah.
What he did with his sword...
I do, and I also think he's telling Illidan the truth. I think, Sargeras was aware of the truth. Sargeras was aware of the truths before even the other Titans were, in terms of the Void and everything else. So I think Sargeras was also very keen to the knowledge of what Azeroth was and what Argus was. And he's probably, he's chilling with Illidan right now. He's probably telling him all this shit. Now, whether Illidan's going to believe him or not, I don't know. But a lot of time is passing. That's a lot of time to convince him of the truth.
It actually did the opposite of what a Mournblade would do. Think about this, chat. If someone can figure out how to craft a blade that can suck a soul out of a living being or split a soul in half...
Sounds like an interesting blade. The way you just described it there. Suck the soul out of a living being. Might need that blade. Might need to try that out.
Then why could someone not reverse engineer a sword that could be used to put a fucking soul back together?
I don't see why not. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? I agree.
How else do you fix it?
A soul sucker and a soul pumper.
Think about it. I was watching the Shadowlands cinematics. I know. I was watching them. And the amount of attention and importance that they draw to all the different swords is insane. They literally don't even need Anduin Wrynn. They needed the sword he was wielding. It was the vessel to collect the sigils.
Yeah.
It literally was sucking the essence out of them, and he was delivering it.
Charlemagne combined with Arthas's last piece of remnant of his soul. That's what they used. Yeah, it was the most important part of that whole Anduin story arc.
To the fucking jailer. Like, what? It was the sword was the insidious corruption that had seeped into him because of what Sylvanas did with what the jailer did.
Yeah.
Forcing it upon him. And I hate to say this, but without all of kind of some of the terrible gameplay, if you watch all the Shadowlands cinematics in order, they're actually not... It's not the most terrible thing I've ever seen.
I don't think it was terrible
think
either.
About it. Sargeras, even if it's demon souls or whatever, this guy knows. I think this guy knows a little bit about how souls work.
Yeah.
I think his is quite literally on fire. And maybe it's because maybe wielding the sword is what, Again, why?
At the least, he knew how demon souls work because he understood how the twisting nether worked and the demons and everything, and that's why he basically anchored Arthas as a place for the demon souls to go to. That way they could return like 10 times faster than they normally would. Because demons, yes, their souls typically go to the twisting nether, they reform and come back, but that takes a long time. What Sargeras did with the whole anchoring all the demon souls and all that shit to Argus is that basically anchored them to our plane rather than the twisting nether, and it happened so much quicker. Like, demons just regenerate. You kill them, they come right back. That's why it was like a never-ending army. That's why the Burning Legion was so good at winning. They just won all the time because even if you beat them at first, those waves of demons just kept coming. It was never-ending, and it was very fast, very rapid regeneration.
Is the eye
So he understood how their souls worked for sure.
The sword is the most important thing ever. Why is the eye in the sword, and what does it represent? I'll show you. The eye in the sword has always been the same thing, in my opinion. It's always been there. No matter if it's the Avatar, a depiction of the Avatar, the Antorus art, Hearthstone art, they always have the eye in the blade.
Yeah, it is always there.
Ogmont even says, that blade has shiny eye. Always watching us. Why see? Well, when we see the blade,
the eye's gone in there.
Like we talked about, the energy.
Yeah, same colors.
Apocalypse. Maybe this is the result of Sargeras feeding Argus anima. Maybe this is, think about it like this. Sargeras undergoing immeasurable amounts of torment and agony is generating a fuckload of anima.
All right.
Probably red and black because he's think about this. He's prideful. You know what I'm saying? That's what they say about him anyway. A lot of people say he's prideful. Very prideful.
He's pretty good Trump imitation.
He would go to Revendreth, I think. Like Garrosh.
Yeah.
And the insane amount of anima that was being pulled out of him. And so what if then, let me think about this. There's a couple ways you could do it. You could do it so that by holding the sword, which has some of Argus in it,
right?
Any agony, and we know they were connected. Magni says Sargeras and Argus are connected. We have to sever that connection by taking them to the seat of the Pantheon.
Right.
The Titan's seat of power. So we're going to go use the seat of the Pantheon to sever the connection between this world soul of Argus and presumably Sargeras or Sargeras' soul. If he's holding the blade, which has him, if Argus is undergoing any torment, that might just literally extend to Sargeras, like a shared torment kind of situation.
Oh, maybe.
People say the memory of the Dark Titan, it makes them think of a Void Titan because it's life bloom, which makes no fucking sense to me. What?
Huh?
What this actually does for druids is it makes it so your life bloom can hit 2 targets, but it does 10% less. So it's like, hey, we can share this healing, or maybe the implication is also damage.
Share the damage, yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Slightly less worse for both of us than if one of us were to take all of it ourselves. Okay? So if that's the case, their torment is probably being shared. So if Argus is being tormented, whether it's by Sargeras or by the Pantheon or whatever, and Sargeras is connected to him or wielding the sword, he's feeling that. So if Argus is kept in a dreaming state where he's not feeling any pain. That's a reference to 1,000 Years of War, right here. This being was so much more powerful than the minion of the shadow had been. Then Illyria had witnessed flashes of destiny. Now, she lived a history that surpassed the existence of the universe. It was energy, spinning out into the cosmos. It found warmth near a sun, and a world formed around it to protect it as it grew. Generations of life lived and died upon it.
Oh, okay.
It was betrayed. It was bound by something powerful.
Damn.
Amanthul says, time answers to me, Unmaker, the one force that can bind your relentless fury. Pain. Pain. It hurt so much. Its only solace lay within its dream. They enslaved worlds. They burned worlds. They used its strength to revive their fallen souls. It hurts so much.
All the just pain, all in every word. Pain's literally saying it. He's just talking about how much it hurts. Like even when he's trying to have a cohesive thought or say anything, he remembers the pain again. Like he has to refer back to the fact he keeps saying it hurts so much every single time. Yeah, there's a ton of references to pain in here and how he's being tortured, and how that relates to how anima is gathered and stuff. Yeah, it's very interesting.
They found another. It was much more powerful. They wanted to claim it.
Now, it is probably Azeroth.
Then they would be unstoppable. It screamed into the cosmos for help. 2 children answered the call. 2 bright lights. 2 bright lights from Azeroth. A world that was like Argus. I just got here. What's that from? That's from 1,000 Years of War. It's when Argus is communicating its memories in one single uncontrolled burst.
Damn.
If Sargeras and Argus link, did some of those brain blast messages come from Sargeras?
Right.
I think
Luke
they
can
tried to
conspire,
make
yes.
it pretty straightforward that it was coming from Argus. But I think that if it can show its memories and things to Illyria, which, by the way, Turalyon can't see. So
Turalion's blind as shit,
when
man.
Illyria is
Blinded by the light. It's like a legitimate thing, like an actual thing. Light can blind you, and I think Turalyon is literally and figuratively blinded by the light. That man can see nothing but what the light reveals to him.
communicating with Argus, she's like
Yrel, yeah.
unconscious. And Turalyon
Turalion's-
is like, what the fuck is...
Turalion's we're gonna have to play with that at some point and deal with Turalyon in some way. Hopefully we can convince him of things, because I actually think, like, as much as Turalion's he's kind of been like a limp pickle or something in the game. His background and his lore is actually pretty badass. Turalion's a badass. He fought in a war for freaking 1,000 years. His faith has guided him through that war, and then he's done some pretty badass shit. Hopefully we can convince him that the light is not like this all-knowing, all-good thing, that it can be used and it can be listened to, but you gotta form some of your own opinions, man.
is going on with her, and he's not seeing it. And Turalyon's light forged, and by this point, Illyria is very much into the void.
Yeah.
And she gets a whisper in her head. She says, why had he not seen it? And the whisper says, because he is not free.
Interesting.
So, because he was light forged, he couldn't hear Argus. He couldn't. It just didn't connect. Which is, I think, super fascinating. Is it possible the flames are a way to stay in bloodlust and be free of domination? Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yes, that if yeah, that's what I'm saying, and we should be afraid.
Flames could be a way to avoid domination. Is he saying? I guess maybe there's a way to think about domination in like that it is domination maybe can be thought of as like a way of putting you to sleep. if you think about it in that way, then it would make sense that eternally burning would keep you from falling asleep, keep you from being dominated. If that makes sense, right? Because you can't really fall asleep if you're in pain. So maybe that constant pain, the burning of Sargeras, you know, he's like literally just lit on fire, was intentional. Intentionally done to stop him from being dominated, because that constant pain would stop him from falling asleep. Maybe. That's an interesting thought process right there. Could be. Could be. A lot of interesting thoughts here. We're going to find a lot more in the World Soul Saga, at least going forward. Hopefully, they can flesh out some of this lore and actually pull it all together. Pull the damage together that was done in Shadowlands. We'll find out.